Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful Wednesday morning. We're going to go over two trades that I took today. One was a pre-market trade, which really turned out well, and I also want to show you one trade that I added into on Tesla, which I only took a few minutes ago, and it really turned out to be a good, profitable trade. And I still held a little bit, and I added as it went down. That way I can maximize my profits while not really giving it all up and exiting too early, really. So we're going to go over those two trades really quick. If you do enjoy the video, as always, please feel free to thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, let's go have a look at the charts. All right, guys, here we are on REDU. You're going to see three separate trades here that were all taken in a very short time frame, two of which I stopped out, and the last one was the really profitable trade. The first one I took here was right around the R6 level, and I was really going long for the momentum rip above the $2 mark. It did move above, and it went up the way I wanted it to, and I went ahead and took half of my position out here. Unfortunately, it didn't have enough momentum to carry it on up. It basically just stalled out right here at the $2 level. Everybody took their profits and ran, so I ended up stalling out here, and I just went ahead and it was a break even because I did have profits. It was basically a half and half trade. Once this set up, I said, okay, this still has enough volume on it to actually trade a pattern. So I began looking for an ABCD pattern. Now, as you guys know, if you watch my other videos, I'm not really a professional in ABCDs yet. I tend to get in way too early, and that's obviously what I did right here. As you can see, I went long on this candle. I just got overexcited, and I stopped out almost before it was even 1 hour. It was still early, and I got in way too early. I knew the setup that I wanted, but almost immediately after I took the position, I said, okay, I got in too early on this. Let me just get out before I do anything stupid. But thankfully, what we did have was a beautiful setup that turned right into a bull flag, and also what we had was the A, B, and then we had the pullback for the C right around the level that we wanted to. It got close to the 9. This is one of the things that I'm working the hardest on, is to get the best entry on the C's and to see when to actually enter. This is one of the best indicators of when to actually enter and get ready for the push up over the high of B, was on this volume candle right here. Sometimes it's hard to pay attention when you're really staring at the bars, but if you do have issues with ABCD setups, always pay attention to your volume bar. This can be a really good indicator of also a reversal. If you don't have the volume and you notice that you're already running into multiple candles, then you can say, okay, this just doesn't have the momentum to set up into the ABCD yet, and maybe I either need to get out if I got in too early, or it may be a good time for a reversal. What we did have was, I said, okay, finally it was ready to move. So once this candle broke this high of this candle right here with the really low volume, I went ahead and went long. I doubled up my shares. I loaded up here. It did make the move, and what I did is I took a very small partial right at $2 just because I'd already been bitten at the $2 mark once, and I was just kind of leery, to be honest with you. But as the volume kept coming back in on this bar right here, I actually added into the position. So I was sitting at full position over $2. We had a really good rip. So it basically went from around 197. I started really taking good positions out around $2.05. So about 1 hour on that. And then I took a lot of positions after it pushed up to the 215 to 220 mark. That was really the really good move that I took there, and I went ahead and got all out once I saw the red candle. This stock really didn't have a lot going on for it except for the initial pump and dump momentum that normally happens with these low dollar stocks. As you can see, they've had zero momentum, man. Look at their volume. It's just terrible. This isn't a stock you would trade throughout the day. And as you can see on what happened the rest of the day, is it was just garbage. I mean, it just sold off. It was a garbage stock. It ran up with news. And that's really what you have to do. If you're trading a pre-market pop stock, you want to get in and get out. You don't want to jump in and just hold for bags. So we're going to go over to Tesla real quick and go over that trade, and then we'll be done. All right, here we are on Tesla. This was a later in the day trade. Honestly, I just took this trade maybe about 10 or 15 minutes ago. As you'll see, the ticker is still moving and the price action is actually still moving my charts around a little bit. What I did for this trade is I wanted to watch what had happened previously. If you look right back here, I drew my line down. We had a descending triangle coming off the VWAP. I saw that Tesla had moved back to the VWAP, and I was like, okay, maybe this is another short opportunity. And it would have been, but what I was actually playing for this time was another ABCD pattern. I was looking for this pop up to go right around the VWAP, pull back to the 9, and this is where I actually went long. I was going long for another push up to the VWAP. Unfortunately, the candles kept red. I was hoping for a couple red candles here and then another green to come in and just, the volume to rip up. I've seen volume on Tesla today do exactly that, and that's what I was kind of betting on. We've seen it here. We had red, and then green just poured in. I was kind of hoping for that move, but unfortunately that did not happen. So what did happen is we had a setup for a reversal, and this is what I did. Right here, I went ahead and stopped out. As soon as this did not continue, if an ABCD closes below that, like if this didn't open here and continue to move up a little slowly, then you know the ABCD is not going to follow through. So I went ahead and stopped out of the position right at the 50. Once this stock broke the 20 MA, I went ahead and took an entry. Now, I did take half of my position. I didn't go full because I was just kind of hesitant on Tesla because, we were still on a lot of red candles. So we could have easily had a pop on volume at any moment. Once we lost this level, we opened again. I took another. So here I was at my full position on Tesla right around this area here. So these two candles right here was, I'm going to put letters so you can see. Here was an add, and then I had an add here. Now, as it fell down, that was around 147. I then started taking partials here, and I took a partial here, and then I took another partial here. I was basically following the price action, and I was basically quartering and setting break evens. So each time I would take a quarter here, my break even would stay the same, so I had to stop just in case it flushed back up. I was still holding about, I don't even know how many shares exactly, but it was a small amount of shares. This 143 level was a key level that I had set from these two candles right here. And it was basically a bounce or add level for me. And when I saw that Tesla was not going to bounce off of the 143 level, I went ahead and I added my full position back to the stock there. And I let it jiggle around a little bit, and then once it lost the 143, what I did is I took a small position here, and I basically set my stop loss again. So I had the stop loss back on my chart. That way I could just let Tesla do what it wanted to do, and I didn't have to be scared of, what if this flushes. That was really the only reason I took a partial there. The good thing is Tesla did not flush back up, and it took a dump all the way down. I took another partial here, and then I was still holding a small piece of Tesla. Now, I did add back into this. As it bounced back up, what I was basically watching was the R3 right here, which normally tends to, it's a really tough level to break. R3, S3, and you can see that Tesla did bounce right off of that. So it bounced up, and when I saw this, the first thing that came to mind was an upside down ABCD pattern. And I was really looking right at the 9 EMA for an add. When I saw that it couldn't hold above the 9 EMA, I went ahead and loaded up again into Tesla. Again, I had a small amount of shares, but this was another add right there. It set my break-even level to below 143. Like I was in 142s for my break-even. I was right around the 9 EMA, so as soon as this made a move down, I went ahead and took another very small partial, and then I set my break even. After I did that, I basically partialed after it went down to R3, and as it bounced, I partialed there, and I partialed once it got back to the 9 EMA. It's really, adding to a position really isn't something a lot of people do. I've really only started doing it here recently, and it's only at key levels. And one of my rules when I add is the amount of stocks that I'm holding has to be large enough that when I add another position into it, it isn't going to bring my break law or my break even level so close to where I just added that it really just cancels out. Like if I bring my level here, let me show you guys what I'm talking about real quick. If my break even is, let's say it's here, and then by adding here at this arrow, I have so few shares that my break even comes to right there, and then this thing and just rips right back up, then I haven't done anything. All I've done is lost money. You might have thought you were adding to something, but you really just, it was like, oh, well, what did you do that for? You should have just sold what you had. One of the other reasons that I was adding is because I had key levels at this 143, and then also had the 9 and the upside down ABCD pattern I was playing. It can be tricky. Please practice adding into positions because it can always really help you and help your confidence. If you're already holding shares, you have those shares. You have your break even level set. You have shares. It's impossible for you to take a loss because you've already got your profits. So try adding some more shares at a key point, and then maybe it'll move your break even down to here. But if you have a key point sitting on a pattern, then maybe it'll keep going and you'll make more money off of it. It's just something to experiment with. It's not for everybody and it's not for every pattern. But sometimes it is worth it and it can pay off. Thanks you guys for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day. Stay green.